everybody, and welcome to Soulful Graphic Designs. I'm your host, Tia. I am so happy that you guys are here to actually experience this first podcast. So I'm very excited. I can't wait to see, what happens. So let me explain a little bit about who I am and why you should actually be listening to this podcast. Like I said, my name is Tia, but in 2018, I actually started a practice under an alias called Raven Jade, and it was a psychic, doing cards with tarot and everything. So you can ask me about that. I know, like the back of my hand. But the reason why I actually did the alias Raven Jade, because my family were very, religious, Bible thumpers, all that fun stuff. So I was like, ooh, I'd rather do a fake name, I carried on with this for 5 years, okay? Because I remember one time my mom, who, she passed away in 2021, in January 1st of all places. So I remember when I finally told her, it was a couple of years into Raven Jade. My mom, I can usually tell any and everything to. So for the first time, it's like I was keeping this big secret. It was going on. So finally I told her. So the first thing she tells me, she's like, "You're going to hell." And I said, "That's okay. Jesus saves." She her eyes got big because let me explain. She had a double stroke, so she couldn't really talk. And she had the trach tube, but the hospital did it wrong, whatever. Oh, she really could talk, but her face be talking. And she would mouth things, and she would get very frustrated when we couldn't understand her. Because the thing was, my mom loved to talk. He had her stroke in 2016. So, okay, let's get back on topic. So when I started Raven Jade, and I loved it. I loved helping people, and I loved teaching. I loved all these things. Well, 5 years in, I started getting tired, y'all. 2023. I was getting tired. And it was like I would do the cleansing, but the thing was I kept pushing myself, and I really give myself breaks. Because it was like, I love it, but, I love to help people. But I, towards the end, my intuition was off because I was burnt out. I was working a 9-to-5 job. Then I was doing Raven Jade on the side. And, I had to take care of family. I had 4 kids. Very hard. So I thought, okay, well, and then one day, one of my cousins, she saw my Raven Jade page. It's like, "God told me to tell you to stop doing this." And I was so exhausted and tired. I was like, maybe God's right. Maybe this is the reason why I'm so exhausted and tired. And maybe this is not the right way to go. And so I was like, okay, what do I love doing? The second thing I love doing is creating. I love creating graphics. I love creating videos. I love doing all that stuff. So I said, hey, let me go into that direction. In September, I decided to make Positive Vibes Design, which, at the time, I didn't really have a niche to really go to. I was just doing designs and doing coffee mugs and all that stuff. Well, people, let me tell you, I got depressed. I started hating my 9-to-5 job, which I loved. I loved it to death, but I started hating it. I started not liking the people that were around. I started getting cranky and irritable. It was just so much going on. And then my oldest, my son, my only son, we call him the only rooster in the hen house because I have 3 girls, 1 boy. So he was graduating next year. So it was my first baby out the gate. So I was just so stressed out. I was so emotional. I didn't know what was going on. I thought I might have been menopause. I had no idea. Finally, a real breakdown in February where I almost killed myself. I almost committed suicide. The thing with suicide, you're not wanting to be a burden to other people, but other people are saying, no, you're not a burden to us. But people in those tendencies feel that way. They feel like, okay, if I'm not here, I'm not a burden to them. I can stop all this pain and sadness. And so I called the suicide prevention hotline. They got me involved. I talked to my 9-to-5. My 9-to-5 actually, helped me with resources. So it was very great. I actually started getting medicine because I was diagnosed with severe depression, severe anxiety, and then later ADHD. It was very hard. Like I always tell everybody, everything happens for a reason. And you may not understand that reason, but it does. I started doing good for a while once I started getting medicines. And one day it was just like epiphany. I don't know if the drugs were kicking in or what. But I said, I miss spirituality. I love it so much. Why not combine the two passions that I have together? I decided to start switching my gears on my, designs to help the spiritual communities. I remember there were times like, man, I want someone to make some infographics. I want someone to do some planners and stuff like that. And so I'm like, why can't I help people like that? I still have friends in the spiritual community that I want to help. I feel like when you give, you get back. And tell me if I'm wrong or not, but I feel that way. Once I started to go that route, it was just like all these ideas and plans just opened up for me. And I was like, you know what? This is where I'm supposed to be. Maybe I wasn't supposed to give up spirituality, but move in a different direction. Another thing that I love to do is talk. I love talking. I miss interacting with people. I'm not too big on lives right now just because, first of all, I look like a wreck. The reason why I actually made this podcast is because I I do want to combine graphic design with spirituality, and I want to bridge that gap. I want to make a platform where artists, designers, and spiritual seekers could, connect, learn, and grow together. Some of the things that I want to talk about with this podcast is color psychology, astrology influences on design, meditation, holistic branding strategies, and so much more. Just think about it. It's such a wealth of knowledge. And if I can help people and I can help them grow, I'm going to be talking about my babies. I'm going to be talking about my kids. I'm going to be talking about my time as Raven Jade. I feel like with stories, it does give you that sense. Like, for one, you get to know me, but also you get that help you need, whether it's with business, spirituality. I really want to do like self-love and, because I realized with me, I didn't have enough self-love. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was taking care of everybody else but me. And I really want people to understand you got to take care of you. You know what I'm saying? Do stories and tips that's going to, help either with building you up, not tearing you down, and also just knowing that you're not alone. Because that was the thing. I felt like everybody had their own life. Everybody was happy. But at the end of the day, we don't know what people are going through. And I like that's very true. Just hoping that people that listen to this podcast really get something out of it. That's like my main goal. And plus, I like talking. So I truly, truly thank you for listening to this beginning podcast. And go to my website, www.pausevibesdesign.com. Get some graphics. Because my son, let me break this down. My son, he just graduated in May. And at first I was like, oh, son, you can wait till August to get a job. Now I'm like, well, that's only a month away. He don't got that much longer. And my oldest daughter, she's actually going to be graduating next year. And she already told me she expensive. I was like, oh, Lord, help me. And the twins are very, they're very quiet and sweet. Well, they're yin yang. Like I said, you'll learn all about them through future podcasts. But I pray you have a blessed and wonderful day. And remember, with Positive Vibes Designs, we're creating smiles one design at a time. So thank you again for tuning into the first episode of Soulful Graphic Designs. And I'll see you guys next time.